Right, hello everyone. This video is going to talk about Project 2, Media Connections Multimedia Thematic Exposition. Your timeline, you need to have a draft of your whole project done by November 1st. You're going to share that with your discussion groups, and then the final will be due by November 15th. For this project, you're going to look at one of the themes that has come out in the readings, specifically weeks 4 through 7. But you can go a little bit later than that. You know, we're already in week 8, so you might find something in week 8 or 9 that you want to include. And you may come across something before week 4 that would work as well. You're going to be submitting your reading selections by Monday, so you can have a few days to figure out what you want to include, and then I'll be able to look at them Monday afternoon and say yes or no to what you have. So if you have something that comes, you know, from week 3 or week 8 or 9, go ahead and put that on your submission, and we can decide if that's going to work or not. So some of the themes, and these are just some of the themes that you could consider, are themes such as freedom, community, family, faith, race, ethnicity, gender, education or literacy, communication, socioeconomic status, and the concept of home. So you'll take one of those themes, and you're going to find at least 2 specific passages. For some reason, I have weeks 5 through 9 on here. So yeah, somewhere in weeks 4 through 9 would be the best selection, I guess. Okay, so that's an oversight on my part, but it's kind of fluid anyway. So anyway, weeks 4 through 9-ish, 5 through 9 course readings that illustrate the theme you've chosen. So 2 of the, and they don't have to be long passages. They don't have to be like the entire work, although a whole poem might work. But you're going to choose parts that really illustrate that theme, that bring out that theme or questions about that theme to you. And then you're going to look for 2 other forms of media, not from our readings, but 2 other forms of media produced by African Americans. And this can be contemporary media, or it can be, you know, any time really. So you can go for art, music, video, podcast, dance, television, news reports or articles, magazine articles, talk shows, that kind of stuff, anything that is a form of media produced by African Americans. And you need to have at least 2 different forms of media. So you can have an artwork and a song, but you can't have 2 songs or 2 podcasts. If you do have 2 podcasts, you need to have a 3rd source that is different. That could be a dance or a television show or something like that. And the television show, you can have just 1 episode, or you can talk about a show like as a whole, or a whole season, or portion of a season. That's really up to you for that. So what are you going to do with this? You're going to create a document, and you can do this in Word or Google Docs or Google Slides or PowerPoint. If you use Google Docs or Slides, you will have to save your presentation or your document as a PDF and submit that PDF. You cannot just submit a link to the presentation or to the document. You must save it as a PDF and submit the PDF on Blackboard. Just keep that in mind. So what you're going to do is you're going to create that document, and in that document, you're going to develop a line of inquiry based on the areas in which these media converge and diverge in their representations of the theme. For example, how do African Americans experience freedom in 2021? Then you'll present each form of media with a detailed description and analysis of how it presents the theme you've chosen. Each form needs to be present in the document, not merely mentioned in the text or linked on the works cited page. It needs to be actually in the document itself. And then you will compose an extended definition, 2 to 3 paragraphs, of the theme you have chosen as it relates to the African American experience. Your definition should be supported by your analysis of each of the 3 media or more. Your minimum is 3, but more media pieces you have chosen, and should offer a plausible answer to your inquiry question. And just for clarification, the 3 media pieces include the texts that you choose from the readings and the 2 other outside sources that you use. For an example of an extended definition, there's this article, The Meaning of Home, and it is not very long at all. You will see that it is 3 paragraphs here. So just 1, 2, 3 paragraphs. And it starts off by kind of getting into the history, the etymology of the word home, where it comes from, what its original meanings were, and then how that has come to mean what it does now, kind of tracing its meaning in a way, and kind of a more sort of philosophical view of home. And you can look at the entire thing here on this one screen. So it is very compact, I guess you could say. So I would spend some time really reading this piece and thinking about what is the author doing here, and then how can you take this idea of an extended definition and create your own extended definition in your own project. So. Okay. And you will also need to include an MLA formatted works cited page. You should all be familiar with what that is, but on the off chance that there are 1 or 2 of you that don't know MLA works cited, I will add hyperlinks to a couple of resources right in here for your benefit. Right. So that's the overview of the project. And now I'd like to go back and look a little more specifically. So you have to develop a line of inquiry. So let's talk about what that means to develop this line of inquiry. So inquiry questions give focus to your project, and they can take different forms. They come in the form of a question, but they can be developed in different ways. So we've got this one here. How do African American writers use literature to express their faith? And how does this faith compare to the faith and actions of white men in the colonies? So this is the question. It's kind of a 2-part question, and it would require some outside research in order to make the comparison. And it would, give some opportunities for what you could do with your more contemporary media, or if you wanted to include contemporary media, looking at different forms of faith within Black communities, primarily white religious communities, and maybe some mixed communities as well. And then another one, which is similar, is how do African slaves' interpretations of Christianity differ from that of white Christians at that time? What does this show us about the strength of religious ideology for people met with adversity? So again, this is a 2-part inquiry here, and it also would give lots of opportunities for expanding beyond just the texts that we've read in class. And you would need to look at both perspectives and do some outside research in order to really dig into this question. If you're not really sure about some of this, or maybe you want to go a more literary direction, you could ask something such as, what is a common thread when looking at voice in African American literature? So if you're a literature person and you are interested in voice and author's voice and how authors kind of develop their voice and present their voices in their works, this might be a topic that you would want to go to. And you can look at like the changes or the differences and similarities in voice, looking at different kinds of literature and kinds of representation in media. And so this isn't the best question, like it's not the most well-developed question, but it is a good inquiry question because it does offer a lot of opportunity for digging into the texts and finding other media that would really make an interesting project. So the guiding thing to know is that the inquiry questions are honest questions that you have that you really want to find an answer to, or at least if there's no answer to be found, like some of these don't have a definitive answer, that at least you can gain a deeper understanding of this topic. So you can think about, these two here, the blue one and the pink one, both deal with faith, the aspect of faith. And then this one here is more literary, dealing with voice, but that could also lead into some other themes as well that are not necessarily even on our list. Yeah, so then what we want to see is, well, what does this actually look like if we start to look at some projects? Now, I'm not going to show you everything that's in here, but I'm just going to kind of flip through a little bit. This was from a student last fall, and this is Education and Literacy in African American Art. The question is, what hurdles were faced by African Americans in seeking education? How did they adapt to those challenges? And then this student used the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass as one piece, learning to read, which you've just read recently, as another piece. And then from more contemporary work, we have a song, and we have an interview. And then we have a little bit of analysis. We have some thought. Then at the end, we have the works cited page. And I will say that one area where this one falls short is it does not contain the extended definition. So but the rest of it is really well done. And this student has audio recordings on all of these slides. You can see that with the little audio button there. I prefer to not have the audio recordings done individually by slide, but just do a whole record. So if you go to the record slideshow, you can actually record audio in PowerPoint. And if you need help with that, you can just ask and I'll be glad to help you with that. We can set up a Zoom and we can share screen and show you exactly what to do. Or if a group wants to meet and have a group Zoom session, I'm absolutely available and up for that. So you just have to let me know that you would like that. And then I do have one more to show you. I think it's this one. And this one is a student who has taken a look at family. And so we have the title, we have a quote to begin with, and then we have the line of inquiry. We have a little bit of definition of family to start with. We have a little bit of analysis that happens. We have a video that we would watch and some more information, some stuff from slave narratives. We go to Frederick Douglass, we go to more Frederick Douglass, we go to Harriet Jacobs, and we have Anna Cooper, and then we go into the extended definition. So this student gave a definition in the beginning and then has extended that definition, taking into account all of the particular experiences of Black and African Americans from the time of slavery on up through our more modern times. But particularly looking at the meaning of family, the experience of family that African Americans had during slavery, and then again, the works cited slide here. So both of these students chose to use PowerPoint, which is a good medium for this kind of presentation. I've had others who have done a really nice job using just using Word or Google Docs. That would work as well, as long as you can get the media embedded into that document. And that I can help you with. I'm not as good as that as I am with the PowerPoint and Google Slides, but I can help you if you have specific questions, and and maybe even help kind of work with you to figure out how to get certain things in, if you have some questions with that or about that. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Okay. All right. So speaking of questions, if you have any questions, please ask them. The sooner you ask them, the better. That gives us more time to give answers and clarifications and solve problems and work out details and all of that kind of stuff. And if you are interested in a meeting to discuss any of the project or to go over any of the technical things, I am up for that. Just let me know, and we'll see if we can get that scheduled at a mutually agreeable time. All right. So I think that's all I have to say about this project right now. If anything more comes to mind, I will either post an announcement on Blackboard, or I will add another video at some point, maybe for next week's video. If a bunch of questions come in, I could do kind of a Q&A sort of thing for that. But otherwise, I hope you all are doing well, and I look forward to seeing what ideas you have for this project.